moment you walk out on stage and you're like, I forgot to check my fly before I came out here, and there are people here staring at me. I love you guys. I paid them to do that. It's all good. $10 on each of your accounts. I am so pumped to be here. This weekend has been phenomenal. I feel like I have heard so much and then missed all these great tidbits from the other rooms. I'm so excited to have us all back in one room to wrap this thing up and see what comes of this. I'm so excited that you guys are all here. This is my 4th Diamond Bound to speak at. From that, I wasn't at Jordan's initial team gathering, but I was at the next one where it was still mostly her team, and there were about 250 people in attendance. And she keeps inviting me back. One of these days, she's actually going to listen to me speak, and she's going to choose not to invite me back. But I think it's just that whole deal where the person who runs the show is crazy busy, so she doesn't know how ridiculous this gets. So for now, I'm still here. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about a few things. I actually had this slide prepared in my slide deck, and I sent it to Jordan, and she cut it out. It was my first slide, and I almost corrected it this morning. I was like, it's fine. The first slide had this bubble of watercolor on it, and it was 10 steps in the young living sales cycle. And y'all would have been like, oh, dear God, why am I here, right? We're not talking about that today. We're not doing that at all. In fact, I want to talk about something else because, quite frankly, I believe if it feels salesy, you're doing it wrong. Anybody else? Anybody else feel that way? Listen, I did not come here. I did not do this Young Living thing. I did not start this 5.5 years ago to become a sales person. Anyone else with me? What did we come for? The oils. Okay, we came here for the oils. That's why we're here. It's fairly rare that you find people who are like, no, 100% I signed up for the opportunity. So about 6 years ago, my kids were just kids, right? Catching this and that and the other and the sniffles and the whatever. And I was a mama trying to hold it together. I was like, you will go to Mother's Day out or I will lose my mind. They were always sick, right? They're sitting here on the front row. Eleanor and Graham, hey, baby. I don't think they've ever heard me speak before, so this is really fun. My husband, Bronce, is here. Somebody gave them seats on the front row. That was so generous of you. But they're why I'm here. Anybody else here because of kids or something that got you into Young Living besides the business? Let me hear it. Okay. So then you get in here and you're like, oh my goodness, this product is amazing. I have to tell all the people about it. We are going to do this. And then suddenly you're like, I've become a salesperson. I'm that person that people at church run from. That is not who I want to be. I've seen that girl for 3 years. I ain't going to be her. Suddenly I feel like all the advice that I'm getting is just channeling me into being that person. Anybody else afraid of being that person? Listen, there are a handful of things that we do inadvertently that make this salesy. These are some of those pain points for you. I'm going to break these down a little bit for you guys today. I'm a huge fan of action. Are y'all okay with that? Listen, there are other people, one in particular who's going to follow me up. If you need a little feel good, she's got your feel good. I'm not here for that, okay? So these are action points. I have a red personality. I do like to get stuff done. We're going to do that today. We're going to unpack these 4 things. Y'all down with that? We're going to talk about being authentic and what that actually means, what that actually looks like. What does that need to be? What is the rub of being authentic? And what are we doing that is making us come off as inauthentic and therefore salesy? We're going to talk about this shotgun approach we have where we treat everyone the same and it feels salesy. We're going to talk about social media just for a minute because, listen, I love social media. It's a wonderful tool. It is not the end-all, be-all. You got to be able to do this more than one way. I'm going to talk just a smidge about that, but about how we do that poorly. And I'm going to talk about downline assumptions. And I know Mary was all like, we don't have a downline, we have a team, or whatever it was. And I was like, well, I've got 4 slides that say downline on the top, so we're going to go with that and just see what happens. Because it's still your downline, okay? It's still the people, it's your tribe, it's your whatever you call it, but it's still your downline, okay? And here's the reality, guys. This is what you all need to understand. At the end of the day, we really are salespeople, okay? It's okay. We can soften the blow of that reality by talking about how I'm not a salesperson, I'm a sharer. Anybody do that? Like, we don't sell oils, we share them. You sell them. You only make money when people buy them. You do not make money when you give them away. You have to be a salesperson at some point in this, or this is not going to work for you. But you're not just selling oils. The problem is when we get stuck in this rut of selling a PSK to people over and over and over and over. And what we need to realize is that we're actually selling us, not in a weird way, but in a why you and not her. That's what you're selling. Why you and not the girl beside you? She's not your competition. Don't even go there. But what are you doing to set yourself apart from the people around you so that you are selling something that is authentically yours and not something that is someone else? And see, here's what happens. We're the ones who make it gross. We're the ones who make it sleazy. We are the ones who make this awkward. We are the pushy ones. We all suffer from insincerity at times. We do this to ourselves. Would you guys agree with me? Have you ever felt insincere? Even as you're hitting post on something, you're like, this isn't totally authentically, but there's a kit sale and I gotta do it. Anybody with me on that? Yeah? Like we're like, I gotta take advantage of this one opportunity. I gotta do it this way. I gotta do this one thing. And it just starts to feel gross over time. And you do that too many times and you build a habit out of that. And we want to disengage from all of that. And we want to wipe away the MLM stigma of insincerity and inauthenticity, all right? So here's how we are authentic. And I'm gonna give you a bunch of different stuff here. But the first thing I just want you guys to really resonate with, and this is so important, and I will be the absolute first person to tell you that I am not always amazing at this. The second person to tell you this would probably be my husband, okay? Make a list of things you will never, ever compromise. Never. Could be your belief system, could be a religious belief system that you have. It could be time with your family. It could be a day of rest that your family has committed to take. It could be a whole number of things that you have chosen as your value system that you are not going to compromise. But then you really need to unpack that and think, what would it look like if I did compromise that? And what is the payment or the lack of payment there going to be? My family comes first, but the reality is there are some times when it does not seem that way to others or to them, but they are always first, always the most important thing in my heart. You are my number one. The three of you are what my life revolves around, and it may not always seem that way, but I promise you, you're my everything. And if they feel like that's inauthentic at times, what does it look like to other people? Okay? We have to think through what we are doing. If you, I love Jesus. I'll just put that right there on stage one, okay? Unwaveringly, not going to compromise that. I'm not going to post something that goes against with that. I'm not going to share something. I'm not going to teach something that I feel is in opposition to that. These are things that are non-negotiables for me. Have you ever come up with a list of non-negotiables? Are there things that are important to you? Because if you get caught up and swept up in speed of this thing, in setting ridiculous goals that you are going to make massive sacrifices to achieve, you are going to end up sacrificing something really important to you, and I don't want you to do that. And this is where it comes down to that. It is possible to be authentic, but not be perceived that way. You can be authentic in every single thing that you do, and then you make one wrong move, whether it's in the way that you're behaving around people socially in a group that you're a part of, a community group, your church or some other, your kids' school or something like that. You could do something there. It could be something that you do on social media. But you can make one wrong move and be perceived as inauthentic. You can always come back for it, but we have to watch out for it. And often it's that being salesy, right? That like, yeah, so you've had a bad week. Man, that's rough. Like, would you like some frankincense? Like, what is that? Like, not that we don't want to offer the oils, but guys, we've got to think about how we come off, right? Like, take a moment and be a human being. People need people. People don't need product. They need you. They need that relationship with you. They need the conversation with you. I'm not saying they don't need our oils. Of course they need our oils. They need our supplements. They need the products that we have to offer. But at the end of the day, we are trying to solve people's problems with product instead of solving them with relationship. And that is where we are going wrong. And it's making us feel sleazy about it. And they feel the same thing. And inside we go, that is not how I wanted this to go. That is not how I wanted that conversation to end. I had more space in there where I could have given of myself. And dang it, I said something about product. I invited her to a class in that moment. There's a place for that. There's a place for that. But we have to stop inserting product when people truly need us. That just makes us salespeople. All right, let's reflect on something real quick. This is really important because there is something on this list that you desire to be greater. All right, it might be your social media following or your area of influence. I just wish, like right now, I have this. I wish it was this. It could be how big your team is. We are just like killing it right now. We have 45 people on my team, but man, this other girl started the same time I did, and she has 450, and I don't understand how she has 10 times more people than I do, and I'm working just as hard as her, and I don't know what she's doing. Anybody? I heard you. Your paycheck? Oh, if only my paycheck was this, we could do these things. If only I was bringing in this much, we could do these things. If my rank was gold instead of executive, this would be better. This would be greater. And we live in this place of want. We live in this mindset of lack. I had the pleasure a few weeks ago to be in an event where Jamie Nato, y'all know Jamie, right? Jamie Nato and I were both speaking, and she went there. She just opened the Bible and started preaching from the book of Matthew. She talked about the parable of the talents, and she started talking about this concept. And I'm telling you, y'all ever sit in something and it's like, this is only meant for me? Holy crap. You're like, what is even happening in this moment? It was one of those, right? And she just starts unpacking this scripture and talking about, the one gets 5 and the one gets 3. The master is going out of town. He gives the one 5 talents. A talent was an amount of money. 5 talents. The one 3 talents, and he gives the other one 1 talent. Actually, it might have been 5, 2, and 1. It's all good, whatever. Same concept. And the guy with 5 goes out and doubles it. The guy with 3 goes out and doubles it. The guy with 1 gets so afraid of the master, he digs a hole and buries it so that when the master comes back, he can just hand him the 1 back. Meanwhile, 3 has doubled it, 5 has doubled it. Y'all with me on this? And so she talked about how those of us who feel like in one of these areas we only have been given 1, we look at the ones with the 3 and the 5, and we can't handle it. We're like, I don't understand. I don't understand why she gets 3 and she gets 5. She has 7,000 Instagram followers. I mean, good for her, right? We're like, that must be real nice for you. I'm just over here like being a real person and all, but whatever. And we do this whole thing, right? We're like, my team, listen, I'm an executive leader who like knows my team. Like she's a gold. She acts like she knows her people. I really know my people, my size. I mean, I want to be that big. Don't get me wrong. Like I want that many people. But I'm so good at what I'm doing. And we do these weird things where we compare and we question and we do all of that. And so here's what she said. And this, I was like, and it wasn't for me about team size. Hashtag Royal Crown Diamond, good to go. But it was about other things in my life where this is the question for you guys today. Do you want a team of 4,000? Anybody want a team of 4,000? But today you've got 40. How well are you taking care of your 40 today? I mean, really taking care of them. Like really loving them well, not just the sharers, but every one of them. The one who hasn't ordered in 9 months. How well are you taking care of her? Oh, she's long gone. Oh, really? Is she still a human being who had need when she bought her kit? How well are you taking care of her? Does she not count in your life anymore? Does she not get credit? Is she not like of value because she hasn't ordered in your organization in 9 months? Hello? Anyone feeling that? Anybody said that lately about someone? I won't make you raise your hand, but I just want you to sit in that for a second. How well are you taking care of your 40 if you would like to have a team of 4,000? Even the biggest influencers on Instagram started with a following of 14 people who they loved well, and they communicated with, and they talked to, and they messaged, and they had a relationship with, and they knew their story, and they were just authentic with what they were going through, and they just shared from the heart. They did all of the things, and that 14 grew to 25. And then those 25 might have shared her following with a few people, and that grew to 40. And then it got to 100. And then there were some zeros that got tacked on the end of that. Do you think that happens overnight? No, not even close. But we sit there and we watch those people who have done that, and we are frustrated. Anyone frustrated about any of this lately? Are you willing to admit it? Are you willing to admit it? We get frustrated with that. We get frustrated when we see someone who is super talented at something, phenomenal photographer, phenomenal mother. Gosh, anyone like, for all the like really great moms on Instagram, and you're like just over here trying to like, I don't even know how to get to Pinterest. Like I'm not even sure what's happening. Y'all, legit, can I just tell you, my husband does the school projects with my kids, okay? I don't even try. Although I will say, he lets the children help him with their projects. Y'all get the difference, right? But they're Pinterest worthy. They're amazing, okay? They're legit. If I did it, I would be like, you spend 10 minutes on that and come show it to me and I'll give you a thumbs up. Like I don't have any creativity in that way. Today I have the pleasure of speaking in front of 5,000 of you guys, and that is not lost on me. But I did not start here. I started in much smaller rooms. Let me tell you a little story about that too. So about 15 years ago, Bronson and I were actually living here in Nashville. He went to law school here. And I was attending a summer Bible study. And it was a video-driven Bible study. A popular Christian leader was doing a video Bible study, and we had a workbook to follow along with. And I was sitting in that room, about 25 of us in this room, watching this video. And I can remember what direction I was facing. I can remember like where I was. And I really and truly felt the Lord say, Erin, that's going to be you someday. And I was like, well, that's weird. Okay. At the time, I was a pharmaceutical sales rep. Putting my husband through school, working our rear ends off, did it debt-free, thank you, Jesus. And I was like, I'm going to be speaking to women. Surety sure. that'll happen. If you've ever had a prophetic word in your life spoken over you or just received, then we do this weird thing in our flesh where we try to make it happen. So that's fun. Doesn't work. So then we moved back to Knoxville, and I was very involved with my church and did a Bible study. And I was like, I feel like what if, could I lead a summer Bible study? That'd be really cool. And they were like, that'd be great. And so I started leading a summer Bible study. And 3 years into leading that summer Bible study, we had 165 people coming every week to this Bible study. Now, let me be real honest with you. It's the same woman's trainings. I hit play on the video, okay? No skill set here whatsoever. But I'm like, hey, I felt the Lord call it on my life. So clearly this is what I'm supposed to be. Several years later, I stumble into this world of Young Living, and I stumble into this freaking products worked, and so I had to tell people about it side of things, right? And one day I look up, and there's 50 people sitting in my living room, and I'm like, whoa, this is weird. And year after year, I've worked hard. And my friend Jim Bob Haggerton said when we were hustling for, I think it was Crown, he spoke to my team and he said, and this was when it all just came down. He said, guys, Erin and Bronce are growing to be a Crown team because when the presents get bigger, the platform gets bigger and the message gets bigger. And for me, this is always going to be about directing people to the Lord, first and foremost. And listen, I look at myself now and see this, and all I see is the glory of the Lord displayed and the way that He has allowed so many of us with similar giftings and talents and completely different personalities and skill sets to be able to do things like this. And what I want you to hear me tell you is if you watch someone do something big and you're like, I want to do that someday, or I feel like that's on my calling to be there and do that someday, remember that it starts this small, okay? It's tiny. It's fractional. And if you are not careful, you're going to overlook it, and you may already be doing those first steps of whatever it is. And you're going to get so defeated and distraught with yourself if you are not paying attention that you're not going to see that little become the big, because you're going to walk away before you give it the chance to happen. Do not do that to yourself. Do not get so stuck in only having a team of 40 people while you watch somebody else do all of the other things that you don't ever have the chance to get bigger than that. Let me tell you a story about can openers. Did you like that segue? I was like, they teach that. Okay. No, we're just move on. Can openers. So I have a friend with another network marketing company. She sells can openers. Got me on that one? Okay. So I've been on her email list for about 15 years now, I think. And it's just they have like a corporate email that goes out monthly. Y'all familiar with the concept? It's got her name on it, but I'm like, girlfriend probably hasn't looked at that list of subscribers to this email in years. I have this weird thing in the back of my head where I'm like, I might actually one day need a can opener, especially a fancy one apparently. So I'm going to keep getting the email and not like stop it or like move it out of my inbox. And so it just keeps rolling right into my inbox month after month, sometimes week after week. I don't even know. And so I keep getting her email. Her name stays right there. I know what she does. I get what she's all about. All of that is present in front of me. And so here's the thing about that. When it comes time for me to buy that fancy can opener, where do you think I'm going to go buy that fancy can opener? From the person who's been consistent and showed up in my inbox for so long, right? If I bought that fancy can opener, I'm a completely normal human being. I do not really follow her a ton on social media. I've gotten this. I do a little bit, but not a lot. I don't really have a glimpse of what her life with selling can openers looks like. I'm not really sure if she has like a team of 40 can opener salespeople or if she has a team of 4,000 can opener salespeople. I'm not really sure. I don't care. To PS, your people don't care, okay? Your people who don't like really get what you do don't care about that, okay? all they care about is that you're the consistent person selling can openers, okay? So I don't really know what her team size is. I don't really know if she's generating like $400 a month in orders or $400,000 a month in orders. I have no concept of that, just like the majority of our friends have no concept and don't care about that for us. Not because they don't love us, just because it's not a priority for them. So if I put an order in for a can opener with my friend, here's what happens to me as a normal person buying something from my friend. She better say thank you. Now listen, that sounds weird and kind of jerky, but I really mean that. Like, if I have been receiving your emails for this time, I perceive that I have a relationship with you. Social media does that, by the way, okay? How many people do you know from online who you met this week and you felt like you already had a relationship because y'all been following each other for so long, okay? Social media is weird. I perceive that she and I have a relationship, even though in the back of my head I know that we don't. It would be super weird for me not to get a thank you from her. I would expect that thank you to come either by email, by text, or by snail mail. Like, thank you for buying a can opener from me this month. I hope you love your can opener. Let me know if I can help you with anything else. P.S. Here's 3 tips on how to use the can opener for maximum value. I don't know. I'm real slow, apparently, and need help with my can openers. If you ever have a friend who needs a can opener, I'd love to sell them a can opener, right? That seems reasonable for me to expect that from her. I don't really understand what the problem is with that. But I'm not doing that with the people who buy oils from me. Are you? When's the last time you thanked someone for their purchase just because? I don't mean your people on ER. I mean the people who you look at and you went, she only did 32 PV. I mean, couldn't she have gotten more than just thieves? It's not even 50 to keep her active. If she doesn't order for the next year, she's going to go inactive. She spent $30. Can we all just stop looking at the bottom line of our OGV necessary for rank and realize that these are real, actual human beings who have taken time out of their life, hard-earned money, spent it on a product you've been talking about, and then we go, we don't acknowledge it, do we? How many of you have said thank you? Truly said thank you. How many of you say thank you every month to the people who are ordering from you every month? How well are you taking care of your 40? How you doing? Scale of 1 to 10, I think as a whole in here, we're about a 1.7. Oh, but my team's just not growing. Have you expressed your gratitude lately? They don't have to be your top earners. They don't have to be your top people for you to express your gratitude to them. Let me go back a slide because I just have some notes right here I want to look at. I ran some numbers on my team for last month, and I want to share this with you, okay? What we do as business builders is we pay most attention to those who are building a business. Would y'all agree with me on that? We pay more attention to the people who are sharing, who are hustling, who are doing that than we do to the average orderer. But if you look at the income disclosure for Young Living, what you're going to find is that roughly 9/10 of your team not building a business. 9/10 of the people on your team who are doing the thing are not doing that thing. And since they're not doing that thing, they go completely unnoticed, completely unattended, completely unthanked and unrecognized. And let me tell you, people, there is nothing that makes someone feel like you are salesy more than them buying something and you not acknowledging it. Gross. Anybody else feel a little gross on that right now? We do this so often, and it makes me so sad. I'm just as guilty as you guys are, I promise. So here are those numbers. So I broke it down last month, and I thought, all right, if I make the mistake of paying the most attention to my builders, let's do the numbers on that. Let's just think through what the actual numbers are on those builders. So I looked at my OGV for the month, and then I looked at my senior star. What did I look at first? First, I looked at star and up. So anybody ranked. I looked at everybody ranked, and I looked specifically at their PV, not their team volume, but the people who I am paying attention to. How much are they personally spending? Y'all with me? Not how much are they enrolling and those people spending, but just the people whose attention, who are more likely to get that attention from me. How much are they spending? Star and up generate approximately 32% of my team's volume. What if you only got volume this month from people on your team ranked star and up? What if that's it? What if that's all you had? Those people who are just ordering to order because they love a product, hello, why are we not loving on them more? Could represent 70 or more % of your downline. Let's take star out of that, okay? Not because stars don't matter, that's not what I'm saying, but I know that they're just like all of us. We have a lot of people on our team who spend a lot, okay? So they might have enrolled someone a long time ago, their star, they just spend a lot themselves. Let's look at senior star and up, the real business builders. Not true, okay? Senior star and up, 11% of my team's volume is personally spent by members senior star and up. So then I was like, gosh, that number blew me away. Then I thought, well, what about the people last month who actually enrolled someone? I wonder how much they actually spent. Because we spend a lot of time getting people to enroll people, don't we? If I look just at the people last month who enrolled a member, the enrollers only made up 5% of my entire team's volume for the month. Yet we spend so much time and effort educating into those people, hoping that they will pass it on to the other people. We have got to start paying more attention to the others. Now, I'm going to flash you a resource real quick because I'm a creator, and what I create is resources, okay? This is just something that I use. Oil Supply Store is the store that I run. These are postcards that I have. They're mostly blank on the back. One of my sweetest best friends is in the room, and she's a platinum leader, and what she does with these is she keeps these in her bag at all times, pre-stamped. She just gets a postcard stamp and slaps them on there and puts them in there, keeps them in her bag. And then she has gone through her downline and gone into the downline viewer, and there's a button at the top. Once you've run a report for a subset of your team or whatever you're focusing on, you can print address labels. Have you guys seen this? Like at the top? Hit the print button. Who cares if you have address labels in there? Just print it on paper, staple that sucker together, and put it in your bag, and now you have everybody's addresses right there for you, okay? That tip is from another one of my silver leaders, all right? So you have a list of all of your addresses. You have a bunch of blank postcards, and think about car line, waiting at an office for something, going through the car wash, sitting, binge watching Netflix. Like, how many postcards can you really get? And here's the thing, guys. Yes, I created these. I do not care if you go buy crap from the Target dollar spot. Just do it. Get something in your hands where you can pay attention to what your people have done. You need to be thanking every person on your team on a regular basis in some way, not just for hitting star, but for spending some of their hard-earned money on a product that you're so desperately wanting people to spend their hard-earned money on it. Let's acknowledge what they are doing. So one of the other ways that we go wrong, all right. Oh, I'm like lasering y'all. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. This is why. It's okay. Okay. We take this shotgun approach to people instead of treating people one by one. We have got to start looking at our members, at our prospects, at our builders, at our people as individual, unique people with individual, unique products. Instead, what we've gotten in a habit of doing is using the PSK as a shotgun. And we're like, everybody needs a PSK. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. All your needs, everything, get it, oils, you got it. This is going to be the best way. Everybody PSK. I am a secret huge fan of the basic kit. Anybody familiar with the basic kit? Basic kit is a customizable way for your member, your prospects to get into Young Living. I just call it the Costco card of MLM. No, not really that, but I do tell them it's $45 to get in. It's kind of like getting a Costco card. That allows you to come in the door and shop for anything you want with the wholesale discount. It's no big deal. Hey, and so then that way we can get you your Sulfurzyme and we can get you your Super B and we can add on that Endoflex that you've been wanting. We're just going to start you with those 3 products and get you out the door. So here's how you do that. Boom. It's not like, does that sound good to you? Like, just tell them what you're, like, this is what we need to do, okay? But don't shotgun everybody into the PSK. Our friends and family are not one size fit all. One other thing about this shotgun method that's so hilarious to me, I was like, when have I felt like I was being treated that way? What's the last time? And I was like, oh, I remember. I was on Instagram and got a message from someone. How many of you have ever received like a copy-paste message out of the blue on Facebook or Instagram from someone where they're, you would be a great part of my team. Have you ever considered network marketing? Because I think you've got the following for it. Anybody ever gotten one of these weird things or like all that? So I got one a few days, it was a few weeks ago. And the whole thing was like, hey, we've been following your feed, and we think you're like totally our market audience. So we'd love to send you 3 string bikinis. I was like, really? Are you sure? No, I didn't say anything. I deleted it. Because that's what we do, right? We laugh about it a lot. And then we're like, do you know me but at all? Pay attention to your people and quit treating them like one size fits all. What in the holy is happening, right? We got to pay attention. We need to get to know them for who they are as individuals, what's actually going on before you send a note in the mail to them or before you send a text to them, whether it's to thank them for a purchase or just to be a kind human being. Before you do that, if you've not been in touch, do a quick scroll of their Facebook. I mean, they could be in the middle of some really thick stuff and be talking about it, and you're all like, hey, friend, how's the summer? And they're like, well, I mean, like, really bad. Like, we just foreclosed on our house, and we're, like, having to move here, and my husband got transferred, and my kid got kicked out of school, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, we put our foot in our mouth trying to be friendly all the time because we're not paying attention to what other people are doing. Salesy. So salesy. Gross. Don't do it. Don't ask stupid questions. Don't ask people to be your bikini model. Just, don't do that. Quit batching your content. I had a really wonderful conversation several months ago with one of my silvers who's here in the room, and we were sitting down. It was a silver and an exec. They were sitting at a table, and they were like, we're just really struggling. We're not getting people to show up for classes. We're not getting people to do this. We're not getting people to do that. And, we're just having a lot of trouble filling seats and getting people around. And I was like, well, tell me what you're doing. And they were like, we send out so many messages about Project Broadcast. How many of you guys use Project Broadcast? I freaking love Project Broadcast, okay? So if you're using it well. So she was like, we're sending all these messages with Project Broadcast, and all this and blah, 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 and whatever. And she was like, but it's just people aren't showing up for anything. And I was like, oh, well, what's your response rate like? And she was like, what does that mean? And I was like, your response rate. Like, you're sending things out. How often are they talking back? And so it was the smallest conversation with them, but it has just led me to such a huge realization in how we are doing everything. And I use Project Broadcast. It's not uncommon for me to send a broadcast out to like 3,000 people at a time. But it'll have a question in it at the end, and I actually want to dialogue with the person when they write back. And so, I might send them a little bit of information. Maybe it's like the holiday catalog that drops tomorrow. Y'all know that's coming? P.S. Don't get distracted now. Hold up. We don't know what it is yet. Just chill. I mean, I do, but you don't. Anyway, it's gonna be good. So if I'm gonna send that out to people and let them know what's in it, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, what are you putting in your cart? I can't wait to hear. Because otherwise we're just shoving information out to them. And then you know what I do is I respond when they respond back. Like, that's awesome. Do you have some people in mind for these gifts? Have you thought about shopping for your family? Have conversations with people. We are in this weird world of shoving information at people and going, how do you like me now? Instead of saying, how does that make you feel? And bringing that back in. And so we have to be chasing conversations, communication, and connection with our people. And you are always going to do that better one-on-one than you are with cold, batched content. Not that you can't send the same message out to a bunch of people, but you need to make a way for it to be received and reciprocated, all right? Get belly to belly with people. Spend time with them. Be in their presence. Open your home. Don't give me the excuse that your living room is a mess. I don't even want to hear it. When I first started doing classes at my house, you know how you have weird things about your house you don't even think about, and then you look back later and you're like, that was weird. When I first got started teaching classes at my house, I still do, but when I was doing it at the very beginning, we had this couch in our den that was old. It was bonded leather, okay? We thought it was real. It was not real. Should have known that by the price tag. But anyway, it was bonded leather, and bonded leather does this really funny thing where it's awesome for a really long time, and then one day it's like, I'm done, and it like cracks and peels. Y'all with me on this? Like, it's bizarre. It's like this strange, it's like one day it just stops being bonded. It just unbonds itself. And so my friend Jen still gives me grief and is like, I remember the first time I came to your house, and I remember sitting on your couch and like not even realizing it and having looked down and realized I just peeled a whole part of your couch off. Like, well, it's fine. It's fine. What? Don't give me your excuses about your house. You're a real person. People expect a real person when they come to your house. They don't want to see perfection on social media. They don't want to see perfection in your house either. It's okay. Be a real person, and don't be afraid to have people over to your home. All right, but what about social media? If we're honest, we're less salesy with people face-to-face than we are on social media. Would you agree? Social media is the weirdest, salesiest, awkwardest, strangest, most bizarre environment. If you have a problem being weird on social media, just get face-to-face with people and stop with the social media, okay? But if you're going to deal with social media, you need to be aware of a few things. First thing, we watch people on social media and we get really judgy, but the judgy really comes from jealous, okay? We see their following, we see the responses that they're getting, we count likes and comments and all the other things. We see all of these things happening, and we get really judgy in that. It goes back to that whole sense of lack, where we see their 4,000 against our 40 and feel like we are inferior in some way. And what happens as a result is we want to make what they have happen so fast for ourselves that we think being salesy is how you get there, and it's not. We get hurried and we get gross in our behavior. We also try to do what other people are doing, and we end up replicating content. We copy what they have. We lack creativity and personalization. So what I want you guys to remember to do is look to other people for inspiration in what you should be doing, but don't just duplicate what you're seeing. Don't do it. Don't just copy what other people are doing. Make it your own. Social media is a long game. Social media is not something that happens overnight. It rewards people with a really long attention span. Building a social media following is not something that you're going to do this week. It's something that you're going to do over the course of the next 5 years. What we see happening in public on social media is also only a tiny snippet of what's actually going on with what those people are doing. The vast majority of conversation that those social media giants are having is happening one-on-one. Very few people put something out on social media and immediately start enrolling tons of people. We write that narrative. We assume that they do. We are so caught in comparison for what others have going on that we tell ourselves the story that because they're more this or more that or better at this or better at that, that they must just write that post and have like 8 enrollments come in that day. And that's just not how it happens. 99% of the enrolling in social media actually happens in the private messages. And if you were to talk to these people who you think are phenomenal on social media, what you're going to find is that they spend way more time one-on-one messaging than you do, for one. And I don't mean like total, just because there's more people. I mean, they know how to do it. They're developing relationships and communications and not just dropping enrollment links into people's boxes. We have got to learn how to play that long game. Let me give you an example of this. Did y'all see this post I put up last week? Okay, this post was a picture I took at Target of this section in the girls department that had all this stuff on it, okay? All this bath body stuff. 100% toxic, disgusting, nasty. They're freaking marketing our daughters, and I am done with it, okay? And I just wrote a post, and I was like, not happening. Not happening. I know better than this. I want better than this. I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it again. I plan to be a grandmother someday. I'm going to do everything I have to do to protect their fertility, okay? This crap is not coming in my house. It's not coming. So I wrote a post kind of like that, and you can see, because I listed it out, what happened. In 24 hours, there were 746 Facebook shares, 59 Facebook comments, 367 Facebook likes, 1,703 Instagram likes. If I look at that post today, which I just checked it about an hour ago, these numbers are roughly double now, about a week later, okay? So what happens is, okay, a lot of people shared it. A lot of people straight up copied and pasted as their own content. That's what happens, okay? Let me write this post about stuff that I don't know. Like some of them didn't even have daughters. I was like, okay, whatever. People do things. But here's what happens behind the scene. We have been conditioned to follow the numbers on this screen. How many likes, how many shares, how many comments, how many follows, how much is happening here, what's going on here. The reality of it is that clicks don't count. They don't count at all. Likes don't count. Stuff doesn't mean anything. Number one, it's meaningless. In terms of your own identity, we've got to quit chasing this crap. We're conditioning ourselves to think that this holds value, and it holds zero value. It also means that we're conditioning our children to think that this stuff holds value, and we got to stop that garbage right now, all right? But people think clicks count because they assume that I must have enrolled a ton of people from, oh, she talked about this, and she whatever. The reality of this is not much. I have held probably 200-ish private message conversations with people since then. Probably a lot of you were part of that. Lots of Oilers came out of the woodwork to ask me questions. But also a lot of people who would not identify with Young Living at all. And so I'm having conversation. Do you know how big my prospect list just got? Really long. Really, really long. Do you know how many people I've enrolled since putting this post up? 0. Some of you would have enrolled 20, and you're like, she's terrible at this. Okay, but still, I'm just saying, it was really busy looking forward to this week, and like I just couldn't, okay? But see, what mattered to me was not that this brought about a $50 boost in my monthly check. Score, kit sale, $50, I'm rich. That's not what happens in my mind. I'm after the long haul because I want the people who are going to ask such good questions that when they come in, they are all in. They get it. They're on board with what we're doing. They're 100%. They're like, Erin, yes. Like, you think I should get this? Let's do it. Tell me why. I'm on board. I think 10 of my friends need it. Let's go. Like, these are the people that I'm after. Not because I only care about people who are going to share, but because I'm after people who are going to be quality consumers who understand our product, not just this $50 check business. We have got to stop that. So here's what I want you to think about. When it comes to social media, what are you posting about? What are you actually posting about? This is the same as true if I'm going to start a blog. I want to start an Instagram page. I'm going to make a Facebook page. Oils attracts oils. Newsflash, those are not your customers. Your customers are not oilers. Your customers are non-oilers. If all you ever talk about is oils and hashtag oils and do all the oils things, all you are attracting to yourself is oilers, okay? Health attracts people who are interested in health. Talking about the nitty-gritty of life, the struggles, that will attract people who want to talk about the nitty-gritty life, the struggles that they're going through. Talking about growth, personal growth, the ways that you're becoming a better person and leaning into that. That is going to attract people who want that in their life or are already chasing it. If you spend your time complaining online, you can have all the complainers. I'm good. I've got enough, okay? But what you do and what you talk about will draw that in. If all you're talking about is oils, all you're going to bring is oils. And that's not new people. It's people. I have 14-ish thousand Instagram followers. I'm fairly confident 13,982 of them are you guys. There are like 17 people out there who are like, who's she, right? Like everybody else, and like I speak at an event like this and watch my count go up and I'm like, yay, prospects, right? Like that's fine. I love it. And honestly, I just talk to y'all a lot anyway, so it's fine. But you've got to know who your people are and who is actually following you, who's engaging with you. Here's what I want you to ask yourself in that. Look over your last 10 enrollments. This is something for you to do when you get home, like legit star, circle, asterisk, arrows, whatever you need to do. This is something for you to do when you go home. Make a list of your last 10 enrollments. You can go back 20 if you'd like to, but just make a note. How did you enroll them? Was it in person? Was it online? Was it a referral? Was it a class? Was it a one-on-one? Make all these notes and see. Guys, you just made a list of what you're gifted at. Run in that place where you are already gifted. Well, the last 9 people I enrolled with me because we went to Starbucks and got a cup of coffee and just talked life for a while, and they knew I did oils, and so I brought a few for them to test, and they signed up on the spot. But I'm working real hard on my Instagram game. Like, what are you doing? Your people are they're drinking coffee over there. They're not talking about coffee on Instagram. Go there. Do what you're good at. Quit trying to be good at what she's good at and be good at what you're good at. Yes. All right. Okay. We live in a world of comparison where we just want to follow the person that we're following, and you may have enrolled online. So you may be thinking, I need to be enrolling people online. That may be the case for you. That might be like where your actual people are. But the reality could also be that you enrolled with someone that you followed online. I did. I enrolled with someone I had never met. She and I have met now twice. She is an awesome silver leader. I love her dearly, dearly, dearly. I'd never met her when I enrolled with her. Just found her online, okay? Happens all the time. That might be your situation. But then you may start enrolling people and find out, like I did, in large part, I enrolled online and in person. Tons of people from church. That big Bible study I led for years ended up being something where people trusted me and they were interested in hearing more about what it was that I was sharing about life. And if I look at my list, what I find for me is I find a good split of in-person and online. And so I do try to balance those two things, and I sometimes swing like a pendulum from one to the other. But find the area that you are the most gifted at and hone in on those skills and get those skills good and solid. And if someone in your downline is gifted in a way that you are not, praise them for that. Don't try to mold them into you. Don't try to make them do the things that you are doing. Be grateful, because that's going to help to grow your business in areas that you can't touch. You may be an in-person belly-to-belly and that's your skill set, and you enroll someone who has a fantastic online following. They should host classes occasionally. It is good to meet with real people, okay? But do that. But that may not be where the growth is massively going to come from, and just be aware of that. What is working for you? You need to be aware of that. I want y'all to look in your downline. I'm going to move quickly through this. I think I'm over time. That's usually happens. She gave me like twice as much time this year, and I'm still going over. Are y'all okay with that? Okay, so look in your downline or on your team. Is that what we're supposed to be calling it right now? Look in your team. There are some things we can see and some things that we can't see. When I buy this can opener for my friend, I'm fairly confident that she'll know that I bought a can opener. A lot of network marketing companies work that way. You know exactly what they've bought, what they've spent their money on. So the common consumer is going to assume that we know what they bought. The reality of what we do is that we do not get a list of what people have spent their money on. We don't know. So we have to ask, and that's a great question to ask. If you're not sure where to start with your people who are ordering from you, ask them what they ordered. Great place to go with that. Super simple, okay? But we do have to ask. It's something that we cannot see. There are some things, however, that we can see. Do we really know what's going on with our downline? We assume our ER members are happy, but do we know that? We assume our quick order members aren't interested in ER, but do they even know about it? We have to have these conversations with them to be sure. In our virtual office, one thing that we can see is their essential reward status. Another thing that we can see is how many months they've gone without ordering. I'll get to that in a second. What we can't see is what they've ordered. Have y'all seen this new feature in the VO? Like, where has this been all of my life, okay? This months without order column is legit. If you've not paid attention to it, do. I simply sort it by my personally enrolled and take a scroll down this from time to time because I want to see how long it's been since people ordered. The dot means they either ordered last month or this month, but other than that, it's how many months since. If you hover over this number, it'll show you their last 12 months of ordering exactly, like 82 PV, 0, 0, 0, 0, 12 PV, 0, 0, 72 PV, 0, 0, okay? Good stuff, guys. We can see this. If we can see that, you know what it's done for me is when I knew before that somebody hadn't ordered in a while, I'm creating stories about whether they are or are not interested in our product, whether they really do or do not want to hear about me. But when I hover over them and I realize that they've actually ordered 4 times in this year, I'm like, whoa, there is a conversation that needs to be had here. Like, not only does there already need to be a conversation, but I'm now armed with more information at a hover or click to grab it right there. We need to be using this feature. We can see their essential reward status, but we can't see what they've ordered. We have ways that we can make this usable. But how do we know how to do this? We can't do it unless we ask the right questions. I could literally give you questions for the next hour on how to start these conversations with your people, but they're going to pull me off the stage in a moment. Text me right here. Text the word diamond to me, and I'm going to send 10 conversational tips on how to get started holding these conversations with your downline, okay? This is information, it's ongoing. This is through Project Broadcast, full disclosure. I'm not individually texting every one of you when I send these out. But I will reply, some. There are a lot of you. But this is meant to be a way for me to just get some information out for you guys. Can I be real honest with you guys? I don't have a paid group for you to join or anything like that. There are some really great ones out there. If that's your jam, it's not mine. I just can't commit to actually providing content like that for that duration. I'd rather give it away free anyway this way. So I'm going to give you guys just some conversational tips and things if you would like those. So I'll let y'all grab that. And here's my final point for you guys. These 4 ways that we tend to be salesy are pain points for our people. And if we can learn to look at each of these as areas of pain for them, they are desiring authenticity in their life. They are desiring people who care about them, who will be real. They need an individualized approach to their health and wellness, and every one of you has the skill set and the products to be able to offer that to them. On social media, we have the chance to influence people, to encourage people, and to love them, not just on our news feeds, but in those private message feeds. And that is where the life truly happens. And do not make assumptions about your downline. They need you. They need you. They're already bought in, guys. It's so easy to help them figure out what else they need from us. You just have to step in and step into that conversation and have that conversation and be authentic.